what must be done to protect our country. Our government needs to take stronger action, not only against those persons who seek to destroy us, but also against those individuals who impede our fight on the war on terrorism, well-intended or not. Tougher laws must be implemented that protect our right to life and liberty. And if that means a declaration of war, putting other rights on hold for a while, so be it. As I have learned from my own life experience, nothing in life is free, especially freedom. Here are several initiatives that I believe will protect us in the homeland. Close our borders. We can arrest and expel all we want, but if the terrorists are sneaking right back in through our borders, we are wasting our time, financial resources, and efforts. We need to build fences that divide us from Mexico and Canada and install the latest technological equipment to monitor them and ensure that no one is crossing. People argue that it would be a major undertaking which would cost billions of dollars. We can take the billions of dollars annually that illegal immigrants are costing our nation in social services and crime, paid for with our tax dollars, and use it for our protection instead. That money could be invested in a fence and employees monitoring surveillance cameras at our borders, stopping our enemy from entering the U.S. At this point, the cost to security is not the poor Mexicans who want to come here to work for minimum wage or less. It is Al-Qaeda sneaking in a suitcase bomb to detonate in a major American city. The cost of nuclear attack on New York City would be immeasurable. We already have legal ways available for anyone wishing to enter our country legally. Reform the immigration and naturalization process in America. The immigration and naturalization process needs to be whipped into shape. Even after the transfer of INS immigration enforcement responsibilities into the DHS and forming the new Bureau of Immigration and Custom Enforcement, ICE, we still have problems. ICE needs to be more diligent with its list of aliens who have applied for a visa or green card. But at least it is a step better than what we had with the INS. The INS approved Muhammad Atta's student visa 6 months after he died while blowing up the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. How could someone actually look at Muhammad Atta's application and stamp it approved? The INS should never have approved even his tourist visa, since he was considered an intending immigrant, one who was likely to seek permanent status. Atta overstayed his visa and should have been deported. There is only one ICE agent assigned to thousands of immigrants. The ICE cannot adequately achieve its goal of monitoring and keeping track of visitors without a system that monitors visa expirations and a method to track the location of foreign tourists. There are some 400,000 aliens still living and working within our nation's borders, even though they have been ordered deported. Some 80,000 of these aliens have serious criminal histories. How can we expect so few agents to effectively deal with so vast a problem? America has an immigration lottery system available to people in every nation across the globe. Those who want to come here legally, we welcome with open arms. They bring energy and excitement to our nation. They are the first-generation immigrants who come here and are willing to work and improve their lives and are a great asset to our nation. Those we gladly welcome. Increase human intelligence. Spying is essential to fighting the war on terrorism. We have satellites in space to obtain information about other countries, but there is nothing like good old human contact to acquire indispensable facts. How can you establish the trust of the locals who are essential for supplying information on the individual you're spying on if you are a satellite traveling in space? It takes years for humans to gain the trust and confidence of different groups. We need to have our human intelligence embedded in every country around the world. President Bush signed a secret order in 2002 sanctioning the National Security Agency to eavesdrop on Americans and foreigners, despite a current ban on domestic spying. Bush received a huge amount of criticism from the liberals on this matter. Why? Because we are spying on people talking with Al-Qaeda? Those Americans who actually have things to discuss with terrorist groups whose goal is to attack our country need to be watched and investigated. Do you think I have anything to hide from the FBI or CIA? They can listen to my conversations all they want. They might get a few laughs. If the FBI or CIA want to show up to search my home, I say be my guest. I have nothing to hide. The goal of the program is to quickly monitor phone calls and other modes of communication of individuals believed to be associated with Al-Qaeda. If the idealists get their way and keep blowing the cover on all our efforts to stop terrorism in the United States, then the terrorists will get their way also. Profile, profile, and profile. When we experience another 9/11, and it's only a matter of time, the same people who accuse the administration of tampering with their right to privacy will complain that the government wasn't doing enough to stop potential terrorist attacks. But will there be anyone or any place to hold hearings as to who dropped the ball on security after the radiation levels drop in Washington, D.C.? We are at war, and in times of war, some freedoms may have to be infringed upon until the fight is over. We need to start implementing steps to find terrorists here in America. That includes profiling. Almost every terrorist attack in the past 3 decades has been perpetrated by Muslim men between the ages of 16 and 40. To keep in line with the usual newspaper reports about crime, where detailed eyewitness descriptions are given in the hopes that readers can help locate the perpetrators, let's add more descriptive language. Men with Middle Eastern features, some with beards, between the ages of 16 and 40. If the press thinks it's doing a good deed by telling us whom to look out for after a crime, why do editorial writers get so bent out of shape when authorities want to describe to the cops and airport screeners whom to look out for before there is an attack? What we call profiling and security searches in America is a joke. I know what profiling is about. When I worked in Israel and traveled to Lebanon every weekend to check on my parents, I had to go through an intensive search every time I came back into Israel. And this was every week. Even though I was well known as a news anchor, that did not make any difference. Every Sunday afternoon, when I entered Israel, a female soldier took me into a room and asked me to take my outer clothes off. I was then asked to empty my bag. The lady squeezed my toothpaste out, turned my hair dryer on, opened the wrappings of every tampon I had, and patted my half-naked body, including my breasts and between my legs. That's what I call security. I gladly submitted to it every time. I knew the threats the Israelis faced and that they were protecting my security and well-being just as much as theirs. I was willing to give up 5 minutes of inconvenience and the somewhat uncomfortable procedure in exchange for safety and peace of mind. That's what you do when you are really serious about protecting your fellow citizens. There is nothing wrong with profiling and identifying suspicious behavior. Most Arab Americans who happen to be Christians have no problem being profiled, me included. I would much rather be inconvenienced for a few minutes than risk losing my life and the lives of my loved ones because some fanatic is dying to kill.
We hope you've enjoyed this excerpt. If you'd like to hear more from Brigitte Gabriel, Because They Hate is available wherever books and audiobooks are sold. Or you can download the entire program today.